Thinking about buying a shotgun, but worried you might end up with an expensive paperweight? Nobody wants to deal with an unreliable, poorly made piece of junk that's bound to fail when you need it most. Welcome back to Bolt vs. Lever. In this video, we're taking a closer look at the shotguns you should avoid at all costs. Don't get me wrong, most shotguns that roll off the assembly line these days work fine right out of the box. Some might need a little breaking in to smooth out minor issues, but that's pretty normal. What we have here are the special cases, ones notorious for dangerous flaws, constant jamming, or being built with cheap, unreliable materials. These shotguns all have one thing in common: they are more trouble than they're worth. Stick with us as we break down models that might look great on paper, but could leave you with a serious case of buyer's remorse, if not worse. Number 10. Smith & Wesson Model 916. The Smith & Wesson Model 916, introduced in the 1970s, is a shotgun that many enthusiasts would rather forget. After acquiring the design from the defunct Noble Manufacturing Company, Smith & Wesson aimed to make a splash in the shotgun market. Instead, they ended up with a firearm riddled with problems. Users reported frequent feeding and extraction problems, with some even experiencing barrel ruptures, particularly in the 916T takedown version. These safety hazards led to a recall, which further tarnished the shotgun's reputation. The design itself didn't do the gun any favors. It borrowed heavily from Noble's Model 66, so it was plagued by flaws inherent to that model's design, and Smith & Wesson couldn't fix those. The single-action bar was prone to bending or breaking, leading to a locked action and rendering the shotgun useless. Even attempts to improve the model, like the 916A tactical version, couldn't shake the shotgun's bad rap. By the early 1980s, Smith & Wesson pulled the plug on the 916 and replaced it with the Model 3000, which fared much better in terms of reliability and user satisfaction. Number 9. Hatsan Escort AimGuard. At first glance, the Hatsan Escort AimGuard might seem like a steal at around $200, but don't let the low price tag fool you. This shotgun is flimsy, with a fore-end that rattles like it's barely holding on, and a stock that feels as fragile as cardboard. No, I'm not kidding. The action is rough and clunky. It almost feels like wrestling with a rusty piece of machinery, rather than operating a home defense firearm. Oh, and those frequent jamming issues? Not exactly the kind of problem you want when things get serious. I mean, sure, it might be okay for casual backyard plinking or keeping those pesky squirrels off your bird feeder, but when it comes to home defense, reliability is non-negotiable. Also, the AimGuard's lightweight design might seem like a perk, but it actually amps up the recoil. Shooting it a couple of times feels like a shoulder-pounding ordeal. If you're looking for a pump-action shotgun that won't give you headaches, it's worth spending a little more. Options like the Mossberg Maverick offer good build quality and performance without breaking the bank. The AimGuard might save you some cash up front, but its unreliability could end up costing you far more, whether in repairs, frustration, or worse. Number 8. JTS M12AK. The JTS M12AK has the looks to impress, what with its AK-style aesthetics and all. But the reality, build quality is nowhere near as good as it looks. It's priced around $400, so at first glance, it might look like a budget-friendly alternative to the iconic Sega 12, but it's not. It's got an adjustable gas system, which admittedly is a nice touch for a $400 shotgun to handle different loads, but don't count on it cycling low-powered target shells reliably. Heck, even heavier loads can be hit or miss until you burn through a few hundred rounds to quote-unquote break it in. The magazine system adds to the quirks. Unlike the smooth rock and lock motion AK fans are used to, the M12 requires an awkward double rock maneuver that will make anyone feel like an idiot. It does include a pick rail for options, but at nearly 10 pounds unloaded, this shotgun is too heavy to lug around, and it's impractical for anything beyond a trip to the range. To top it off, its finish doesn't do it any favors. Rust shows up real fast without regular oiling. While it might look like a rugged tactical tool, the M12AK is more suited for fun at the range than anything serious. For home defense or hunting, its inconsistency, weight, and rough handling makes it hard to trust. Keep it well oiled and it'll hold up for casual shooting. But if you need something dependable, you should look for something else. Number 7. Cobray Terminator. The Cobray Terminator is as basic as shotguns come, and not in a good way. This 12-gauge single-shot slam-fire relic from the late 1980s was designed to fire from an open bolt, a setup you'd typically expect from improvised shotguns rather than something factory-made. Instead of a traditional bolt or hammer system, the Terminator's barrel assembly slams backward to fire the shell, which makes the recoil feel like a punch in the shoulder more than anything. For something with such a tough name, this shotgun seems to be more intent on punishing the user than anything else. On top of that, the open bolt design means you have to manually remove each spent shell, adding unnecessary hassle to an already unpleasant shooting experience. To keep costs down, the Cobray outfitted the Terminator with a flimsy, stamp-sealed stock that's as uncomfortable as it is thin, and its minimal finish cannot withstand much abuse. It was originally priced around $100, which might have made it tempting back in the day, but the cheap design sacrificed comfort, reliability, and durability. Today, the Terminator has earned a cult following, not for its name or performance, but for its notoriety as one of the worst shotguns ever made. Number 6. Ithaca Model 51. The Ithaca Model 51 was built between the early 1970s and 1987, and is unique in that it's both a marvel of engineering and a complete headache to own. It features a bolt carrier that is so intricately machined, you have to wonder how Ithaca managed to produce it at all. Unfortunately, that same craftsmanship is its Achilles heel. The bolt carrier is prone to cracking, especially on the left side near the guide rail for the gas piston. That area is thinned out by the long slide design, making it just too weak to hold up over time. Even with the best steel and a radiused cut to reduce stress, the part tends to fail. Replacing it isn't much better. If you can find one, a new bolt carrier will set you back around $160. And do take note that it was made the same way as the one that broke, which means at some point you'll have to shell out another $160 for your next replacement bolt carrier. Number 5. Saltwood Browning. The Browning Saltwood shotgun is a painful reminder that even top-tier gun makers can make some serious missteps too once in a while. This shotgun was produced in the mid-1960s through the early 1970s and was part of a cost-cutting experiment to speed up production by using salt-treated wood to cure stocks faster. The idea seemed clever at first, reduce curing time to keep up with high demand, but it backfired in a big way. The salt embedded in the wood absorbed moisture over time, causing severe rust and corrosion where the wood met the metal. For many owners, this meant rusted receivers, degraded firing mechanisms, and a lot of hair pulled. Saltwood wasn't limited to just one model. It affected a range of Browning firearms from that era, including the iconic, superposed, T-bolt rifles, and A5 shotguns. The problem often starts small and gets worse, making it tricky to catch early. Look for rust around screws or areas where metal meets wood, clear signs of saltwood damage. Repairs are expensive and usually mean replacing the stock entirely. While Browning did offer replacements back in the day, modern buyers and collectors are often left dealing with the fallout. These models may hold historical appeal, but anyone interested in owning one should inspect for saltwood issues carefully, or prepare to spend time and money dealing with rust. Number 4. Remington CTI 105. The Remington 105 CTI was touted as a cutting-edge shotgun with its advanced bottom-ejecting design and high-tech materials. The receiver, for instance, was made of titanium. But instead of revolutionizing the semi-auto shotgun world, it became a classic case of good ideas gone horribly wrong. It was notorious for jamming and reliability problems, especially with lighter loads. Testers and owners constantly dealt with failures to feed and eject, basically turning it into a single-shot shotgun about half the time. Not exactly the kind of shotgun you'd want, especially when you paid for a semi-auto for quick follow-up shots. To make things worse, the CTI demands an insane amount of maintenance to keep it running. Its gas-operated system clogs fast and requires a deep clean every 250 rounds. far more often than other semi-autos. And don't even get started on disassembly. It's a nightmare with over 70 steps, which makes it a huge pain even for the most patient gun owners. And its price isn't even wallet-friendly. At over $1,500, you would expect its performance to match premium competitors like the Browning Maxus or Beretta Extrema. But the CTI is so badly made, its follow-up version, the CTI 2, couldn't fix its core issues. Number 3. Winchester 1400. The Winchester 1400 might seem like a bargain for those wanting a semi-automatic on a budget, but its reputation is rougher than its price tag suggests. Priced competitively for entry-level buyers, the 1400 lures in those looking for affordability, but what it delivers is a host of problems that turn the charm into regret. Universal complaints focus on constant jamming and cycling failures, especially when using varied types of shells. Lightweight and cheaply constructed, the 1400 often feels unsteady in hand, and owners report it just doesn't have the durability to hold up over time, especially under regular use. Durability is a particular sore spot here, as Winchester cut corners on material to keep the price down. The plastic magazine throat and flimsy internal components wear down quickly, leading to more frequent malfunctions the longer you own it. Even the recoil spring, a key part of its cycling action, weakens over time. And since the model has limited aftermarket support, finding reliable replacement parts can be a hassle. Customer support adds to the headache. Winchester's response to reported issues has been lukewarm at best, with many owners finding that help is hard to come by, especially for a model that's no longer in active production. Number 2. Winchester Model 1911 SL, aka the Widowmaker. The Winchester Model 1911 SL sounds like an uber-cool collector's item, thanks to its Widowmaker alias, and conceptually, it's a pretty cool piece that you can brag about. But if you're thinking about using it for anything serious, like home defense, forget it. This shotgun is infamous, not for stopping bad guys, but for its tendency to kill its very owner. It was released in 1911 as Winchester's take on Browning's Auto 5, but it came with one fatal flaw, pun intended. It's got no charging handle. Instead, the shooter had to cock the gun by gripping the barrel and pulling it back. Here's where things got really dangerous. People would brace the stock on the ground and push the barrel downward, often without realizing the gun was pointed right at them. The result? An accidental discharge that would hit the owner right in the face, earning it the grim nickname Widowmaker. But the bad news doesn't stop there. Instead of using durable metal buffer rings like Browning's design, the 1911 SL relied on weaker fibrous ones that wore out quickly. This led to intense recoil that could crack the stock. Add in frequent malfunctions, especially with the swollen paper shells of the time, and you've got a gun notorious for jamming and being a nightmare to maintain. Number 1. Remington Model 887 Nitro Mag. The Remington 887 Nitro Mag was marketed as a tough, modern pump-action shotgun, designed to handle anything you could throw at it. Its armor-locked coating promised unmatched protection against rust and corrosion, making it appealing to hunters and outdoorsmen braving harsh environments. But the shotgun's rugged image quickly fell apart under scrutiny. Users reported constant cycling issues, with shells frequently failing to eject properly or jamming altogether. These reliability problems were made worse by its bulky design at over 8 pounds. It was heavier and more unwieldy than comparable models, making it less practical in the field. The unconventional look of the 887 didn't help either, drawing mixed reactions from shooters who found it awkward to handle. The real trouble came in 2014, when Remington issued a recall for 887s manufactured between December 2013 and November 2014. A defect in the firing pin could cause it to bind in the forward position, leading to unintentional discharges when chambering around. While no casualties were officially reported, this safety flaw was serious enough to warrant a voluntary recall. But even before the recall, the 887's clunky design, lack of reliability, and inconsistent performance had already alienated many users. Despite its promise as a durable, all-weather shotgun, it ultimately fell short. It was discontinued not long after, remembered more for its flaws than its potential. And that's it for this video. Shotguns can be powerful tools, but as we've seen, there are a few models out there that are more trouble than they're worth. So what do you think about the shotguns on this list? Have you owned or shot any of them? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click that bell icon for more content like this. Thanks for watching.